Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO of the largest chiropractic business organization in the world, Mr. Keith Maule.
Well, that's very kind of you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Guess what? I have some great news for you today. How many of you are you? Oh, yeah. You are in the right place at the right time. And I'm going to even prove it to you. I'm even going to show you. I'm going to illustrate it. You know, now, a lot of you did really good in school and all that, and I'm happy for you. But there were a few of us that struggled with tests and stuff. I don't know. Anybody in here ever struggled with tests and stuff? Now, see, here's the thing about it. You're going to take a test. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but have you ever sat down at a test and you looked at it and you said, what is this? I wasn't expecting this. And it's all questions that and you're not, you don't, and you find yourself guessing. Have any of you ever guessed? Have ever you been so short that you couldn't even guess? And then I want you to picture this for a minute. What would happen then if there was somebody next to you who said, I've got all the answers right here. You want them? And what would you have said? No, I don't want to cheat myself. I don't want, I don't copy and I don't want an F. I'm going to do you. And I know that you would have said that, and I understand that. But that's why, but what if you had been there and somebody had said that, and it was all right to copy? Would you have said, thank you, God, I'm in the right place at the right time? Well, guess what? This is what I have got for you today. I've got the answers to the test. To the tests that you run into when you got these practices going, and you run into you run into some questions, and it's like, and here's what I'm going to say now. Hey, good news. I've got the answers here, and you can copy them. And it's all right to copy, because here's one of the things that once you get out of school, here's one of the things you find out. Some of the things that you learned weren't exactly right. And you know what isn't right? It isn't right that you make up your own answers and do your own things. It's really right that you copy. Copying is a good thing. Copying is the right thing. And when somebody's got an answer, you ought to copy it. Now, here's why I bring it up. I want you to spend the day here copying. Because here's the deal. We didn't realize that, although we didn't copy them because we thought they would flunk us. We'd get a 0. How many of you heard that, And you don't want to cheat yourself and all. Well, not only are you not going to get a 0, but this is going to help you get what you want. Why would you want to make up your own answers when the winning answers have already been made available to you to copy? So here's what I want you to say. I want you to, so let's start. Turn to the people next to you and say, I'm going to cheat this morning. I'm going to copy. Tell them. Okay. We're going to copy the answers. Now I'm saying, and will it work, you guys? Are there answers to copy? Will it work? Can you copy? Why would you make it up yourself when you can copy it? Why would you risk it when the answers are already there? Why would you not want to do it? So here's the deal. We're going to look at the answers, but you got to first believe that it is copyable. You can copy the answers. You can. In other words, can you copy greatness? That's a very weak answer. Can you copy greatness? Yes. Mm-hmm. Can you copy the heart of a champion? So if you see a champion and you see what it takes to be a champion, you can copy that and you would become a champion. Yes. I'm asking you. Yes. So we understand that if it's copyable, that means that even for your practice, you don't have to come up with all the answers yourself. You can copy the answers. It doesn't have to be your idea. It doesn't have to be your way. And in fact, it works out better most of the time when it isn't. Because there's already some things that have been proven to work. So why wouldn't we take what has been proven to work time and time again and then copy it? So I want you to be determined this morning. You're going to just try it once. Just try it once. You're going to copy that. You're going to copy this. You're going to see how it works. Now, that would mean, I guess, we can take the heart of a champion and we can transplant it into us, should we choose to do that. We can take the mind of the best and multiply it. So, we can adopt the attitudes of the elite and get the same results. There's the part that I'm humming in a little bit. If you copy it, it means that you can get the same results that they did. Is that good? You don't believe it yet because you'd be a lot more excited if you believed it. But you can take the answers and copy it and get literally the same results. And so, we can prove that the best of the best are not originals. Here's one reason why it's all right to copy is because they copied too. And then it worked. Here's what you find out about champions, success, winning. You find out that there are consistencies. There are constancies. And even though it's in different fields, even though it's in different areas, same one of those things that you copy works for the same success as the one in that one. Because you'll find out that there's very little differences when it comes right down to it. So, the commonalities, when learned and copied in the heart and mind of anybody else, you, how many of you are you? Copied into you gets the same results. That makes today a really exciting day. A great opportunity if you're willing to take it. Now, one of the things I want to tell you, and I may have mentioned this more than once because it's pretty important. Don't be afraid that when you copy it into the practice, when you copy the ideas, when you take the ideas, when you take them straight up, just like they are, you don't have to worry. No one else is going to get the credit for it. When it works for you, which it will, and when it takes you to that championship level, that star, that success, believe me, when it happens, you will be the one to get the credit. Don't worry about anybody else getting it. You don't have to sweat that. You don't have to say, well, actually it was, no. You'll get the credit. So, copy it. It's the right thing to do. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Now, as an integrity doctor, you have really got to enjoy so much success, which is a great thing. And we are grateful for it because you have risen far above the profession as a whole. Your size, your success, your new patients, your impact on health, all of these things, you have far surpassed the people that are around you. And so that's a good thing. It also becomes easy to forget sometimes the many boosts that you've had on the way up. That it even impacted you and you may not have even realized it so much. You copied it even when you didn't maybe so much realize. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over just a partial list of what we here have had a lot of stars. And as you know, this is our year for just making each conference a spectacular conference. Well, we've had quite a few, and so I'm not going to list everybody because it would take too long, but I'm going to give you a partial list of some of the people that have been right here in front of us before, giving us a chance to copy. Joe Theismann, one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Awesome. Terry Bowden, I'm sorry. Oh, you're right. Thank you very much. Everybody get your flags. Because I'm supposed to be taking a poll. How many of you heard Joe Theismann by any chance? Do we have any Joe Theismann? Oh, wow, that's tremendous. Yeah, wave your flags. Get used to waving your flags. They're a little quiet, but they're still good. Terry Bowden. How many of you got to hear Terry Bowden? One of the greatest coaches ever, greatest family of coaches ever, and he was awesome. Justin Forsett, NFL All-Pro. Wow, you guys did good, real good. That's very good. Or you just like waving the flag. I'm not sure which, but either one I'll take. Matt Burke, we just had in Minneapolis a few weeks ago. Awesome. He did a great job. He was very good. Oh, Johnny Bitch, I think the greatest catcher ever, right there, and a good guy. I mean, I realized he was a Cincinnati Red, but he was from Oklahoma. So that tied him into greatness, right there. Steve Garvey, what a guy, a manly man. When I grow up, I want to be like Steve. Yeah. Jim Morris, the rookie. You remember in the movie? Dennis Quaid played him, It was a great thing, man. I don't know, he became a major league pitcher at the age of 102. I can't remember exactly what it was. He was up there. not quite that old. But what a guy, what a story. It was inspiring. Bill Lester, we just recently had where were we at on that one? Dallas. I was in Dallas. Man, race car driving, for any of you who are really in it, this guy was brilliant. NASCAR legend, really terrific. Dick Vitale. How do you know Dick Vitale? We've had him. Some of you, a lot of you are elite. You had him you were in our home, and then he was there with us, and that was a cool thing. Ann Beeler. Now, Annie Ann's is who that is. You remember Annie Ann's? Something else. That was terrific. Annie's pretzels. How many of you ever had Annie Ann's pretzels? How many of you have at least smelled them? They're cool. One of my favorites, I was going to talk about her today, Mary Lou Retton. Yeah. She was awesome. Carly Patterson, going to go over some of our Olympics like we have here coming up. She was great. Bella Caroli, we had him in Dallas. I'm going to talk about something. Scott Hamilton, this is kind of my list. Evan Lysacek. Yeah. Matt Stutzman. The armless archer. I'm going to talk about him today too. Randy Snow, very inspiring guy. He's passed away now. Tom Pappas. We sponsored him at the Olympics in Athens. He was there. Dan O'Brien, which we had speaking as another decathlon athlete, by the way. Milt Campbell may have been one of our first ones. I kind of think he was way back there toward the beginning. Olympic decathlon. Bruce Jenner. How many remember him? So I don't know. I'm not going to get into it, but I still hadn't figured it out just yet. I don't know. Anyhow, Brucey was there. Jackie Callahan, first female pro boxing promoter. She did a great job. Another movie. Meg Ryan played her. Wow, he's such a deal. Well, here's another one. Isn't it funny how these people we all had, and now even today, they're in the news? That's weird. I think that's weird somebody is in the news. Now look at this. Good old Quentin Aaron, who was the star in The Blind Side. I don't know, do you think he got paid to do that movie? I'm not really sure, but here's the thing. Good guy. We had a good time with him. And this was one of my favorites too. Roddy Chong. How many of you heard Roddy Chong? What a guy, man. Great violinist. He was a showman for sure. Well, this is one of the most moving people that you'll ever meet in forever. Patrick Henry Hughes. Wow, what a star. Something, that was his dad behind him. Alton Fitzgerald White. I think you said you saw him just yesterday or something? You did? Sorry, this guy, Mufasa on The Lion King. And has the voice for it too. Yeah, you can. And he was the original, right? And did it for 4,000? It was a lot. In Lion King, the musical. Marty Sklar, another one of, it seems like I'm saying this favors, but I mean, this guy's one of the Disney legends. There are not very many. He was Walt Disney's personal assistant. How wild is that? Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy, and I'll say, gosh, if you ever, I'll tell you this, I should give all of you Ryan's phone number so you can just call his phone, because he did the voice message thing for Ryan. So on his phone, whenever you don't get him, he's the one that answers his phone. Gosh, Ryan isn't available. It's like, I don't know, for some reason I still laugh every time I hear it. But great guy, did a great job for us. Ashley Eckstein. Now that's another one, the voice of Ashoka Tano. Ahsoka. Well, her universe I can pronounce. Found out that was good. And boy, I'll tell you, if you guys got to hear him, Ron Clark. How many of you got to hear Ron Clark? Wow, he was great. Maybe the best teacher ever. And they made a movie out of it as well. I think it was Matt Sunsets that played him. Matt Perry from Friends played him on that movie. Wow. Susan Urschler, The Seven Summits. Something I'll only read about. But nevertheless was very, very good. Justin Flom, magician at the Elite. That was a good one. Now, Harris III. Now, you have to admit, I'm just going over part of these. Is this an amazing list or what? This is quite the amazing list. Nick Walinda, who's the high wire guy that walks across the Grand Canyon and all that kind of stuff. I was behind him holding the camera. It was really fast. Dr. Robert Schuler, one of my really good ones there, who's passed away since. Great one. Dr. Darius Daniels. You were right in every second that he was talking on that thing. It was really good. Mac Anderson, probably one of the best people of providing success tools for people in their hands. Great job. Stephen K. Scott, great author. Dr. Dennis Waitley, another one that I learned a lot from when I was in my 20s and all, so I was thrilled to be able to have him to us. Larry Wingett. Now, that guy's about as blunt honest as you can get. Even just his titles are blunt honest. Grant Cardone. Many of you may have heard of him. Another great author. And Andy Andrews, another great author as well. Well, it just about makes you tired, doesn't it? Joel Manby, who we just had in Chicago. That's what I was going to say. So here's the thing that I want you to get, everybody. You know, it's just pretty cool and it's pretty amazing. We got to be thankful, because let me just assure you of this. This is just a fact, and you can kind of see, because that's not everybody, but that's a bunch that we had. Let me assure you, there isn't anyone in the history of this great profession that has even come close to making this kind of investment into you, because if we copy it, we can do it. And we have far succeeded in this area, taking you to the top, the lead, soaring. Now think about it, you guys. The teaching, the conferences, the system, the tools, the locations all over the country, the quality of coaching that we have, it's unmatched by all others. That's why you have the responsibility of doing this part. Copy it. Cheat. Look on the papers. We can't help but win. We make it possible to copy that greatness. So, you guys, one thing that you ought to be aware of, just like for today, we've got a great day. We choose to study and learn from those who have become the best, for those who have gone for the gold, for those who have become champions, and we've brought them here to you so that you can copy, learn, and experience the same thing. Today, as an example, we have Shannon Miller here with us today that you saw doing all that stuff before I got on, which means that I don't have to do it now that you've seen it. And I'll tell you what, the most decorated Olympian in our country, That's the kind of success that she has had. The best of the best. We had dinner with her last night, and what a spectacular person. Learned a lot there. It seems so easy when we talk about this, and I tell you that all we have to do is copy what she has already learned and experienced. And I know that seems easy. I say that, and you're something like, well, yes. Well, if it's so easy and everybody knows it, then why isn't everybody doing it? Because you know what the 98% does, you guys? They copy too. They just copy the wrong people. You know, Jesus called us sheep. And one of the reasons he did is because we have a tendency to just follow anybody who's going anywhere and they don't have a clue as to where they're going. And we just follow them. And if one sheep walks right into a hole, the other sheep will still follow him into that hole. Because you'd say, we'd never do that. I'd say it happens all the time. Truth of the matter is, very few people learn just this one thing that I've talked to you about right now. That is the importance of copying. Learning how to copy, but learning how to copy the right people. So, we've had this year of spectaculars, and in this one, what I wanted to do, because we have Shannon here, and she'll be talking to us later on in the day, because we do, I took some of our speakers, Olympians that we've had that have won the gold medals, and I just took some of the lessons that they taught in their classes to us. And I put it together so you could copy it. So what I'm going to spend these next couple classes on is I'm going to give the time giving you 12 gold medal lessons that we have been taught by the greatest Olympians in United States history. Now, first of all, isn't it amazing that we have had that experience? Then the second thing, how many of you even have pictures with some of these folk? And the good news is you can get your picture taken with Shannon at the end of her class today. So that'll be great. But I just put down 12 that I really consider to be real biggies that we need to grab hold of. And I want you to, what do you think I want you to do with them? Copy them. Copy that. And I'm going to start with Bella Caroli, who was and is by the greatest Olympic coach. And when I say greatest, I guess I'm saying most successful, producing it for us. And here was his theme. His number one lesson: master the winning system. Big on the system. They did it a certain way. Now here's the thing you got to catch hold of this guy. He was successful at turning a little country called Romania into a mega championship country for Olympic gold medals in women's gymnastics. And he went there and did it and was the most successful at it. And then you might say, well, he was lucky. He wasn't really that skillful. It's just that, you know, the girls in Romania were just more built for it and more skilled for it, and that was just them, and they just have that culture, you know, gold medal culture for gymnastics there. Well, here's where we get proven a little wrong on that, which is why we might ought to pay attention to lesson number 1, is then he left Romania and came here. Now you say, we're pretty great. No, we weren't. We had never won a gold medal in women's gymnastics ever until he came along. He and his wife came, and they started coaching our gymnasts, and that's where we won our first gold medal and built it up from there. And let me tell you, it isn't just because he just was this magnetic personality that anybody would love and learn from and all kind of stuff. I'll tell you, if I understood one word out of 5 that he said, I was doing pretty good. And if you guys heard him, brother, was he, I couldn't understand him a bit. And he was grumpy besides that. I mean, he was just, he talked rough, he was grumpy, wouldn't have been voted most likely to succeed, I'm not sure, in very many high schools, because they wouldn't have even known, you wouldn't have recognized him. Well, he learned and he proved that if you master the system, if you master the winning system, you can succeed wherever you're. If you're in Romania, you win. If you're in the United States, you win. It isn't the country, it isn't the people, it's the system. Now, can you get a hold of that one? Can you accept it? Can you believe that no, it isn't? See, we don't like, this doesn't go over in the US of A. We like to believe that this stuff is luck. We like it to believe that it just happened to them. They were in the right place at the right time. Well, maybe so, but they were in the right place at the right time with the right system. And somebody made them work, and they had to do it, as Shannon will tell you. They had to do it. He made them do it over and over and over again, thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Ryan asked her a great question at dinner last night, saying, well, he was talking about how he heard, when he was watching her on these films, that there were people in the crowd that yelled stuff. And then there was also an alarm that went off. And there's an alarm that goes off on that balance beam. How many of you ever seen that balance beam? You do realize, it's this thick. And she's on that balance beam, and they have a time limit. And there's an alarm that goes off that lets you know that your time is like, was it 30 seconds or whatever? You have something like 30 seconds to get off of there now. And while she was up there doing her routine, that alarm went off. And he said, he said, didn't that throw you off? Didn't it scare you? Didn't it get your mind off what you were doing? Here that goes off, and you now got 30 seconds, and the whole world, and the whole world's watching on TV, and they're in that place, and the whole gold medal thing, everything you work for is on the line, and that alarm goes off. Did it throw you? Did it bother you? And she said, no, honestly, it didn't. But she said, I'll tell you the only reason it didn't. I have done that thousands of times, over and over and over and over again. And I knew where I was in my routine, and here was another little key, and I wasn't going to change it for the alarm. I'm doing it this way, and she did it, and she won. But isn't it pretty powerful to get? Learn mastering the winning system. Now, if you can believe it, here's a question that I asked Bella Caroli, and as far as I could tell, this is what he said. I said, have you ever had someone with big potential, what we might consider a natural gold medalist? Have you ever had someone with big potential that failed, didn't make it, didn't do it? He said, yes. But he said there were only two reasons why, that if they didn't make it, here's the reason. It wasn't because they couldn't. It's because they didn't want to do the work, which Ryan will be talking about that later on in the day. And the second was they wanted to do it their way. Now, can anybody of us here in America, can we relate to this at all? Do we think that that's even possible? I'm thinking that's probably pretty possible. They didn't want to take. They didn't want to follow. They didn't want to listen to the advice of coaching, instruction, system. They would have said and did say, in these cases, it doesn't fit them. Now, I found it fascinating because this may surprise you, but we've had a few doctors that got into integrity and then they said it didn't fit them. That's why it's so good. That's why it's so important. If you keep doing what fits you, you keep on doing what you're doing, you keep on getting what you're getting. The only way to change what you're getting is to change what you're doing. it's a good sign that it doesn't fit. Because what you want is the winning system, not your system. All in favor say aye. Aye. That was pretty weak too. All in favor say aye. Aye. So what happened? In his case, as he was telling us, the decision to do it their way instead of following the system and the coach cost them the gold. So then, obviously, his example of who followed it, the best gymnast he ever had, was also not the most talented by any stretch. But she was the one that had the biggest desire. And that's the one that we brought after Bella, whom was one of my favorites, and that was Mary Lou Retton. Now, she was the first, I want you to catch the gravity of this. She was the first American woman to win an individual gold medal in gymnastics. In other words, she broke the barrier. Think about that accomplishment. It had never been done. She made history. She took the lead. And at the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles, which, by the way, now we're talking 40 years, right? At the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles, she achieved perfect scores in her final two events. She won gold medals in those events, as well as then went on to win the gold medal victory in the individual all-around competition. Now imagine what that took when you consider America has never had one before. Is that pretty cool or what? Now what does that tell us? We understand it. Now here's the questions that I have to ask you. What made the difference? How come she won these gold medals for America when nobody had ever won those gold medals for America ever in the sport? What made the difference? Was she more talented than anybody that we'd ever had? Was she? Anybody have any answer? What do you think of the answer? Was she more athletic? Was she more talented? Was she smarter? None of those things were the factors, you guys. You got to really take all this in. None of those things were the factor. But at 14 years of age, she moved to Houston from West Virginia, leaving family, friends, school, church, everything, to go train with this coach to learn that system. And at 16, she won that gold medal. You have to realize that her winning wasn't supposed to happen. So how did she win when it was against all odds, since we had never won it before? Think about this, how it plays. We can understand her having to do this when it's never been done, because I consider it to be like chiropractic. Chiropractic has never led the healthcare field, has it? So when we talk about it, everybody say this after me. I am born to heal. I can change the health of my world. Even when it's never been done. Even when there's a lot of people that can't see it. Even when others think it's ridiculous. I think we understand how Mary Lou felt, don't you? Now what I'm interested in is getting the same as results as she did. And I want to say, copy that. I will do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. Because I believe I was born for this. Now, all we have to do is follow in the footsteps of people who have done this very thing. We don't have anybody in chiropractic who has, therefore we have to learn it from a few others. She believed she could bring gold. She actually believed this. This girl from West Virginia came over. She believed, this teenager believed that she could change history. She had no American role models. By the way, she is known now in Olympics as the pioneer. She didn't let that stop her, though. And by the way, I want you to make note of this again because I mentioned it to you earlier. I want to come back to it. She followed her coach and she followed his system. But she is the one that got all the credit. You don't have to be afraid of that. She got all the credit. She's the one that ended up on the Wheaties box. She's the one that got to hang the gold medals around her neck. Not the coach, not the system. So don't worry about not getting the credit. You'll get the medals. So then I have to ask you this. Can you believe that what works for Mary Lou will work for you? Now I'm asking you. Can you?
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, if you do, you'll soak this up like everything. If you don't think it matters, you'll let it go. I'm confident. So lesson number 1 is to master thousands and thousands of times. Master the winning system. Lesson number 2 is choose a winning coach. Don't just choose a coach, choose a winning coach, a track record of winning. No one gets to the Olympics without a coach. By the way, how many get to the Olympics without a coach? Nobody. Now that's a pretty high percentage, you guys. No one gets to the Olympics. No one makes the Olympic team without a coach. So look, that explains why most people don't make the Olympic team, doesn't it? They didn't even take this step. Now, you have already broken out of the crowd of the 98% just by choosing to have a coach. How simple is that? You just choose to have a coach. How important is that? Well, nobody ever makes it without it, so it was a pretty important decision, wasn't it? You would think that everybody would make this decision. Wouldn't you think that everybody would make the decision to have a coach? How many think everybody should have a coach? Everybody should have a coach. My word. Michael Jordan had a coach. He was pretty good. Here's what I'd say. It's a simple step, but hardly anybody copies it because the 98% just continue to fall themselves into a hole and fall in it. The great ones could care less about who gets the credit, or this. Great ones could care less about ego satisfaction. Now, there's lots of reasons. Why don't they have coaches? Ego, money, pride, laziness. But the great ones, all they're looking for is an edge, no matter how slight, so that they can win. And by the way, when you look at Shannon or you look at Mary Lou, and you see the scores that they won that gold medal by, they didn't get a 9.8. In second place, got a 5.5. It was the difference in a 10 and a 9.9. In Mary Lou's case. All you need is the edge. She didn't just choose a coach. She chose a winning coach. And it does matter, you know. Lots of people claim to be coaches, but few have earned the title with a long parade of successes. Now, let me just tell you this. I'm really proud of our huge, long parade of successful clinics and successful doctors. Successful above all others. I'm proud of it because it's proof. See, and here's one of the things that also makes it very cool, you guys. We have them in every state. Well, you don't understand in our area. Yeah, I really do understand. In your area, we have them in cities. We have them in small towns. We have them in such small towns sometimes that you'd think a great practice couldn't be built in it. And we have them in large cities where you would think they'd never be seen or heard. But it doesn't matter whether it's Romania or the United States. It's a winning system and a winning coach. So, of that we are very proud. And by the way, and not for just a short period of time. We didn't just come out of here last year or the year before. I see some of these people, it's like, where'd they come from? We're talking about 40 years. I'd say it isn't luck anymore. Can't we say it probably isn't luck now? Probably not luck. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking already. I know you're going to say, why are you telling us this, Keith? We have already chosen integrity and so on. Right. This isn't my message. It isn't my lesson. I got it from Mary Lou. Mary Lou told us this is what we must do to win. So I don't want you to get it from me. I have nothing to sell you. You're already in this. I only have to tell you that this is what it takes. And the best of the best of the best, history makers, world changers, this is what they did. So probably we ought to what? Copy that. She's the best in the world and she proved it. And this is what she said. And by the way, I can ask her this question. When Bella told me to do something, I did it. That takes us to lesson number 3. You ready for lesson number 3? It isn't enough to have a coach, and it isn't enough to have a system. You have to listen to the coach, and you have to do it. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, did it make a sound? You can't just have a coach, you have to do it. Now, I know what this means, you guys. I get it. I asked Mary Lou if she ever disagreed with Bella, and if she ever did it her way. Whenever he said to do something, and she didn't think it was right, did she ever not do it? Was there ever a time when she thought that she had done this enough times and she shouldn't have to do it again, and did she do it? Here was her answer. Hers, not mine, you guys, hers. I was there for a purpose. And they were there to help me do it. I might have thought I didn't want to do something, but I did whatever Bella told me to do, regardless if I agreed or not. Now that turned her from the 98% to the 2 right there. Regardless if I agreed or not, he said what to do, how to do it, and how many times. Listen to this. I would never have not done whatever he said, out of respect, because they were the masters. Now, you guys catching the gravity of all this? This is what, I'm not saying that you like the lessons that they have. I'm just saying this is why they said they made it. This is what put them on the top podium. This is what put the medal around their neck. This is what put her on the Wheaties box. She had to put her success, her future, in the hands of her coach and trust him. Rick, I think you were telling me a little bit about that before we started this thing. So, here's the question. We just saw what she did. These are her words. We saw what she did. Now, I got to ask you the question, and you have to answer it. I got to force you to. Did it work? Yes. See, that's the only question. That's the only question I got. I don't want to hear whether you agree with her or not. I don't care with whether or not I agree with her or not. There's only one question to ask. Did it work? And if it worked, I guess that shuts my mouth and shuts yours, huh? I guess it worked. Huh? Did she win? Whew. Against a Romanian. How weird is that? Do you think she's glad she did it this way? Next question, this is an important one that you got to answer. Then will it work for you too? Was she the exception, or can we copy that? Well, I'm definitely going to have to keep going. Lesson number 4 is the courage to risk. Now, now don't answer this out loud and don't point at anybody else. Just answer it in your mind. Well, we won't do this one out loud. Do you have to have a guarantee before you'll do it? How much proof do you have to have? How many things before you'll do it? Now, here's what the Carollis told Mary Lou. This is when she was asking you about being able to come to Dallas and train at their place and live there and do their stuff. They told her that she's not a butterfly. She's not a natural, in other words. She had to take the risk with no promise, you guys, catch this, of even making the Olympic team. Now let me ask you, would you uproot yourself from your family and your friends and your church and your schools and go halfway across the country to be with somebody that you don't know, who tells you that you're really not that good, you're really not you're really no butterfly? Would you have done it? You guys look like you have I don't have no halo over my head. I wouldn't have. No doubt, man, this took some guts, bucko. I find that very few people are willing to stick their neck out for a purpose unless there's a guarantee of success. How do we know this will work is one of our primary questions. Well, what if you don't know? Would you do it? What if there is no net? We have, I think you'll agree, we've become a society of participators. We don't even like wins and losses. We don't like levels. We don't like gold, silver, bronze, or none. We like everybody should get the gold. Everybody should have it. And if we didn't all get the gold, it isn't fair. We want income equality. We want no different classes or levels. We want nobody to win and nobody to lose. We insist on bailouts and entitlements so we don't have to think, create, or risk. And this is, you guys, I know that sounds very halo-headed. I know that sounds very like I'm really a big-hearted guy when I believe that. No, you're really robbing us of being the people that we could become. Because we're never forced to reach our potential. We're never forced to create. We're never forced to think of something that we would. We're never forced to get out there and really give even more than we ever thought we would give. We're never pushed to that 110% because we know we're all going to get the same gold medal. So there's no reason to push. There's no reason to work. There's no reason to try. And that's why we struggle with some of the ethics that we have today, is because there's no reason to work it because we don't have to. But who does it now? Here's what's happening. Now we're cheating ourselves. I know I'm coming on here. So, Aesop has a fable that says, necessity is the mother of invention. Don't resist or resent risk. It forces you to reach yours. Now, what gave her the courage? That's what we got to ask. What gave her the courage to risk, to move, to leave, to risk everything with no guarantee that you'll even make the Olympic team? What gave her that courage? It's one word, it's faith. Now, if you remember, our definition of faith is just this. Faith is being absolutely sure of what everybody else just hopes for. Faith is being certain, absolutely certain of what other people just can't see. Now, you guys, this is real easy to apply. How many of you have ever heard people tell you, or maybe you've said it, I'm sorry, I just can't see it? Well, that's a true statement. And that's what's robbing you of it. You just can't see it. You see, faith is being able to see what everybody else just simply cannot see. You're certain of what can't be seen. And you're sure of what everybody else just hopes for. There was this, in Matthew 17, there was a guy that had been sick a long time, wasn't doing well. They took him to the disciples, and the disciples prayed and taught and did all things, and it didn't work, and the guy stayed the way he was. They took him to Jesus, and Jesus healed him. Well, you know, the disciples were, I know, I gotta quit. I'll end with this slide. Disciples went to Jesus and they said, well, I don't get it, Jesus. How come it didn't work for us and it worked for you? How come you did it and we couldn't do it? How come it worked for you and not for us? Now, I know what every one of you are thinking. If you're honest, you're thinking, well, because he was holy, he was God. No, that wasn't his answer. When you look at his answer, you have to look at what he didn't say as well as what he did say. He didn't say it's because I'm good and you're not. He didn't say it's because I haven't sinned and you have. He didn't say it's because you aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. He didn't say any of that. He gave them a one reason answer, only one. He said, your faith is too small. It's your faith. That's it. No book, no 3 points, no chapters. Why didn't it work? So if it doesn't work for us, why do you think it didn't work? I would have thought it's a one-word answer. Faith. Sometimes we need the kind of faith that makes us look weird. And you'll be considered weird by a lot of people because you have faith in something that they simply can't see and that they would only hope for. And we don't care if it fits everybody else. I don't care if I fit in with the crowd. I'm not trying to get accepted by the crowd. I'm trying to win the prize that I've been called to run for. I've been given a God-given dream. And I want to win it. And so what everybody else thinks, I couldn't give a rip. Are there people, you're going to find this out, are there people who think I'm weird? That's hard to believe, I know that. It is for me too. But you know, sometimes you just got to have the kind of faith that just puts you in a circle that makes you look just a little weird. Can you handle it? It's a lesson if you can handle it. So, I can't keep going because we have to take a break. Let's take an 8-minute break and I'm going to start back and talk faster next time.